Hello, A.J. Brown. One of these guys, come on down.
I think when you add in the fact that he averaged 11 yards a catch, you add in the fact that some of the issues that popped up off the field where the Patriots supported him clearly, and the fact that, as Chase said, that they're looking for a true number one wide receiver, and Stefon Diggs is not that anymore. I think he was a person who was a piece in a time of need, but as far as going forward, for a team that I thought was a year early, they need a true number one receiver, somebody that can take that side of the field where Drake May knows he can throw the football to that side of the field and that guy can make a play. Stefon Diggs had kind of gone from that to more of an inside slot receiver. And I think if you're New England, if you're Mike Vrabel, you're looking for somebody that can help Drake May ascend, not somebody that Drake May has to carry. And I think at this point in his career, Drake May was starting to have to carry Stefon Diggs instead of somebody that can put Drake May in a position where he can just throw it up and he can make a play, Lewis.
Yeah, look, I think it was never more evident than in the Super Bowl. When you're up there in the booth and you're calling the game and you're looking down at it, you're going, where is Stefon Diggs? Why is he just totally being blanked out of this football game? And look, if your cap number is about to balloon to $26 million and you're going to turn 33 in the middle of the season, in the 26th season, those numbers just don't add up. They just don't. And look, I think, everyone has said it, and it's pretty obvious. They need a true X. They need a true Z. They need a true number one that can either draw coverage or when it's one-on-one coverage, it's an automatic, I'm going to him. I'm going to him because he's going to win. There's some guys out there that fit that profile. Some of them will be expensive. Some of them may come in the draft. But I think right now, when you're always trying to maximize return on investment when it comes to player acquisition, Stefon just now, the return on the investment on the cap dollars that it was going to take, it just doesn't match up anymore. That's just business in the NFL, and they're going to move on and get someone else.
All right, getting someone else now. Let's take a look now. Before this move, they were $39 million under the cap. That's top 10 here, Chase. And now you have some more space, flexibility. You also have 11 picks in the upcoming draft, but your first pick is pick 31. Do you find that answer at wide receiver in the draft, Chase, or are you starting to pick up the phone and start talking to other teams and start inquiring about A.J. Brown?
Yeah, I mean, I think exactly what you said and what Lewis was like, hey, they have to get a true boundary X receiver who can do it all. And like I mentioned earlier, it's Alec Pierce, it's A.J. Brown, and then fill in the needs throughout free agency, but also look at the draft. I think it's a deep receiver class draft. I don't think you have to draft a guy in the first round, in the second round. You can find value in the third and fourth round, but you do have to have a playmaker for Drake May to go out there and actually throw the football to. And those money downs, like Lewis and Booger both said, third down, red zone, who can do that? To me, I love the fit of A.J. Brown there. I think Mike Vrabel understands A.J. Brown. I think Mike Vrabel can get the best out of A.J. Brown. And I think Drake May and A.J. Brown, or is that an Alec Pierce who stretches the field? Those are my top two options, and then everything else you sort of fill in through the draft.
So a Super Bowl team now looking for a wide receiver. We have more breaking news coming in. How about two Super Bowl contenders making a trade, the Rams and the Chiefs? By the way, the Chiefs agreeing to send all-pro quarterback Trent McDuffie to L.A. Last April, the Chiefs exercised the fifth-year option in McDuffie's contract, making his 2026 salary of $13.6 million fully guaranteed. Here are the details according to Adam Schefter. The Rams receiving McDuffie, who's just 25. The Chiefs receiving a first-round pick at number 29, a fifth, a sixth in 2026, plus a third-round pick in 2027. I mentioned McDuffie again, a do-it-all corner who's only 25 years young. 8 career forced fumbles and 15 quarterback hits are both the most among all cornerbacks since entering the league in 2022. He was a first-team All-Pro in 2023, second-team All-Pro in 2024. Lewis, let's get your take. Our resident GM also, our safety. What's your reaction to the trade?
Yeah, it's a little surprising because, look, you're not really in the business of giving away guys who are 25 years old. 25 years old that you drafted and developed, but you also know are coming in line or down the line, you're going to wind up having to pay them a huge contract because Trent was about to embark on his free agent year and become a free agent in 2020-27, and Brett knows that. So now you have to start thinking, how do I divvy up this salary cap pie? Is there going to be enough to go ahead and really pay this man what he's going to want on the open market? Probably not. So what are you going to do then? You're going to try and get maximum value for this young man, and they got that. They got another number one. Now, that obviously creates another void for them on the defensive side of the ball, But what Brett Veach is trying to do, he's trying to stockpile picks. He's trying to not have a drop off in terms of performance, like at this position, by getting younger and cheaper at the same time, because that's just life in the NFL. I can guarantee you, they hated to get rid of Trent McDuffie. They hated to trade him away. And now it's going to put the onus on the front office, man. You have to find somebody to take this guy's role, because Trent is a guy who could shadow, he can move inside and move outside, and he was just a hell of a competitor and team locker room guy. You saw what Patrick Mahomes' reply was on social media already. They hated to get rid of this guy. But that's just business in the NFL once again in the salary cap era.
Yeah, look, from the Rams' perspective, I love it. Like, they're taking a swing. It's sort of what they did when they won their last Super Bowl, forgetting about those picks, right? But I do like the fact that Trent McDuffie can play both inside and outside. He's an elite tackler. He gives the Rams an opportunity to play man-to-man coverage more often and take more chances. He's an excellent blitzer from the slot as well. Like I mentioned, the Rams, they had a glaring need. They went and got Roger McCreary at the trade deadline. Then you go out there and you get McDuffie. I think it's genius. The Rams are in a very small Super Bowl window with Matthew Stafford, probably playing 1 or maybe 2 more years. This just signifies to me they're all in. You heard him say last week, we need to get an all-pro caliber guy. This just makes defense a lot easier. You can literally, as a quarterback, forget about throwing to the half of the field that he's on. It just makes their defense better. It makes their defensive line better. It makes their entire operation better.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of things. What was the weakest part of the Rams team last year? A team that had Super Bowl aspirations. It was their secondary. So now you go out and you get, if not the top young corner in football, one of the top 3 young corners in football. Yeah, we know you're going to have to pay him. And so what you have to do is do the exercise of, could I get the same value at pick number 29 or something close to that? And I think Les Snead and everybody in the front office said, I'm going to go get the known commodity. It seems to me that's what they do in LA. They don't worry about the picks and go for something that we think we know. They go for the for sure and what we do know. That's why Les Snead has always traded those picks, because he's going for what he already knows. He's going for an all-pro and Trent McDuffie. They turn a position of weakness into a position of strength. And then on the other side, it's clear to me, Kansas City does not value cornerbacks. Think about Marcus Peters, L'Jarius Sneed, now Trent McDuffie. They groom them, they raise them, but they're not going to pay them. So let that be a message to all the corners that have come through KC. Hey, you can go there and play and get started, but you're probably going to get paid elsewhere. So I think this worked out well for both teams because of what both teams are trying to do. One team wanted to get stronger. Another team just doesn't value the position enough to pay them top of the dollar.
That comes down to scouting and trusting what you're going to do on that rookie contract if you're going to make that pick in the first round with the quarterback. Now, we weren't the only ones shocked by the trade. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes posting his thoughts on X following the news, tweeting, "Damn, well, short and sweet." Chase, what do you make of the reaction?
Score some more points, I know that.
From the 3-time Super Bowl winner, Chase. Your thoughts?
Well, you better score some more points. Exactly, Booger. That's what I thought. And look, a franchise quarterback, best in the world, in my opinion. You never like to lose great players. And when you lose great players, it makes it more difficult. But in Brett Veach, we trust. I know people in that building really well. They draft and develop younger players better than anyone, probably in the last decade. Brett Veach is a genius. I trust in him. It's always hard to lose a 25-year-old cornerback, but they followed a very similar plan to Tyreek Hill when they traded him away in 2022. They went out, they stockpiled picks, and what happened? They got back to the Super Bowl. This is a roster, you guys know, that needs to be retooled at multiple positions, specifically defensively with Spags running the defensive coordinator position, and that defense, you said it, Booger, corner for them does not matter. They play this too high shell look where it's a read technique. They can play draft picks. They can play undrafted guys. Corner is not that important to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they showed us here today that it's not.
Yeah, look, I don't know if it's not important to them. I will say this. They do have a track record, though, of being able to find younger guys, and they have great coaches. Look, between Spags and guys like David Merritt, I mean, these guys are superstars now. They have really taken some younger players that a lot of people could not have gotten the mileage out of them that they've gotten out of them. So he's going to have to invest in the position at some point. He's stockpiling draft picks. He's not going to go out and sign some big name free agent to replace Trent McDuffie, obviously. Otherwise, he would have just signed Trent McDuffie. but they will find some people to draft and develop. They're going to have to make the position a priority. I think, though, there's no question that there's going to be an emphasis on really trying to upgrade the explosive component of the offense this year. I think that's where a lot of their attention is centered on. They have to take some of the pressure off of Patrick. They have to find another wide receiver. We don't know what's going to happen at tight end, and they better get some people to help out Chris Jones. So there's a lot of needs on this team, a lot of them. And so right now he's trying to put together that diagram about what this is all going to look like. But at corner, well, that's one thing. You're right. Look, Chase, I agree with you. That's one thing that Brett would sit there and go, if there's one thing I've shown you I can do, I can find corners that David Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo can go ahead and develop. I have proven to you I can do that, and I'm going to have to do it again.
Couple of house cleaning things. This will mark the first time the Chiefs have multiple first-round picks since 2022. That was the year they drafted Trent McDuffie, 22nd overall. And the Rams sent their second of 2 ones, their own 29th pick, to the Chiefs. They still have the 13th pick, which they acquired from the Falcons. Keep that in mind. Les Snead's still cooking with a first-rounder. All right, we got more news coming in on NFL Live. This is an A block, a strong one. Aaron Rodgers is on the Pat McAfee show today. The 42-year-old potential free agent was asked about his future.